Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Tiffany. I make videos about speech-language pathology, clothing hauls, lifestyle videos, basically anything that I feel like recording. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the field of speech and language pathology. I got a comment on the first video I posted, basically asking me some questions about speech and language pathology and the grad school application process and how grad school was and all that. So I decided to make a video on that. Back when I was a student and I was going through the undergraduate and the grad school process, there weren't any videos online with YouTubers who were in the field or were studying about the field. So I thought this video could help anyone out who's interested in the field of speech and language pathology. So whether you're going to begin the graduate application process soon or you're still in an undergraduate program, what I will discuss here can definitely be beneficial to you and help you out. Let's get started with this video. So what is a speech and language pathologist? I'm going to read off this definition that I like because I feel like it kind of encompasses everything and it's kind of short and sweet and to the point. Speech language pathologists, also known as SLPs, work to prevent, assess, diagnose, and treat speech language, social communication, cognitive communication, and swallowing disorders in children and adults. So SLPs, they work with a variety of people from babies all the way to adults, the geriatric population. And they treat many different types of communication and swallowing problems. These problems can include speech sounds. Speech sounds is how we say words or how we put sounds together to form words. Disorders can include dysarthria or praxia. I'm not going to go into it, but if you're going to be in a program, you're going to learn all about that. SLPs work with language. Language obviously is how well we understand each other and how we communicate with one another. There's literacy, how well you read, write, and spell. People with, language problems may have difficulty writing and spelling and reading and doing all that. So it kind of all ties in together. So there's also social communication, also known as pragmatics. Pragmatics is basically the social use of language. So eye contact, taking turns in a conversation, ability to maintain like topic maintenance, knowing when to end a conversation, things like that. Basically all things social, with language. SLPs also work with voice, how our voices might sound, either hoarse or crackly, or maybe someone has a voice disorder, spasmodic dysphonia, or maybe they have vocal nodules. There's so much that goes into it, and SLPs work with individuals to treat that. SLPs also work with fluency, which is also known as stuttering. I haven't seen too much of that. Maybe only 3 kids that I had with fluency disorders, and that was in my internship. I haven't seen that since. But SLPs do work with individuals who stutter. SLPs work with cognitive communication, which is basically how our minds work. Executive functioning skills, memory, attention, problem solving, critical thinking, everything that we use day to day that we may not even notice. And then of course my favorite, which is feeding and swallowing. So sucking, chewing, swallowing, everything that happens from, once the food is introduced into the oral cavity, into, going all the way into the esophagus, down to the stomach. There may be some swallowing issues, also known as dysphagia. SLPs also work to treat individuals who have swallowing problems. Like, you can work in so many different settings. You can work in schools, like a public school, private school. You can open your own private practice. Of course, you can work in a private practice. You can work in a clinic. You can work at a university. You can work at a hospital, an acute care rehab center, a long-term care facility, which is where I work at. And where else? I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking of. Home health. There's so many opportunities. It's so flexible and I love it. Like if you're thinking, oh, I think I want to work with kids. So you're working with kids in the schools or whatever, pediatrics for a few years. And then you kind of want to dabble into the medical side, at a hospital. You can do PRN or do part-time to kind of get your feet wet and get experience and kind of better your therapy in that area as well. I just love how you can switch around. If I get bored with my current setting, I may want to switch over to something else, and I can do that. So my undergraduate major was in speech and language pathology. That was the name of it. I know other universities call it like communication sciences and disorders. It's the same thing. My university, it was called speech and language pathology. So that's what I got my bachelor's in. So if you're going to school for that, it would be best to major in that. However, you don't have to. If you're interested in the field and you're just starting university, obviously do that. But I know I had a lot of classmates who didn't have a bachelor's in SLP, they had it in something else. I know one girl had it in like early elementary education and another in finance, like something completely different. But you can still apply for graduate school through a leveling program. So a leveling program is designed for those individuals who have a bachelor's in an area other than speech and language pathology or communication sciences disorders. And it's really just designed to prepare them for graduate school. So these leveling courses provide a basic understanding of like speech, language, hearing, swallowing, basically the courses they would have taken if they majored in speech and language pathology. And then of course you have like your general education classes, you know, they may have requirements for like the natural sciences, physical sciences, math, you know, all that stuff, all that basic stuff. Okay, so now that I kind of talked about, you know, what is speech and language pathology, where can you work as an SLP, I kind of went into majors, undergraduate. I'm going to kind of go into the grad school section of this video. So these are just kind of some tips for applying for grad school and kind of navigating the process. So during your undergraduate time, you are a SLP major, right? So I would recommend you to get involved in some extracurriculars. So your school probably has a, what do they call it? NSHLA, National Student of Speech Language Hearing Association, something like that. It's just like a little school program that is all about SLP, but it's just student-led, right? So I'm sure every school has that. I know my school had that. I would recommend getting involved with that, maybe taking up an officer position if you want, or just being involved. I know I was in NSHLA, but I think I only attended like 2 meetings because I just had other things going on. I would also recommend you to volunteer and maybe like shadow another SLP, you know, contact your local public school and see if it'll be all right for you to sit in some therapy sessions like at the school, of course with consent and going through all that. Like I said earlier, I wasn't too heavily involved in NSHLA. You know, I had other things to do. I was working, I was busy, you know, of course. I did go to a few meetings, but I knew that my involvement in NSHLA was not significant enough. So, you know, I supplemented that by, you know, over the summer I would volunteer at a speech clinic and I would help out and work with the speech language pathologist on site to, you know, make my application look better and also to kind of get a taste of the field. The facility where I shadowed the SLP, it was a facility that focused only on students with multi-disabilities. And after the first day of me being there, I knew like this is not the population, this is not the demographic of people that I want to work with, but I continued to do it because I signed up for it and I enjoyed it, you know, in the end. But I knew, okay, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be an SLP for these types of kiddos because it's just not something that I am interested in, and that's okay. You don't have to love everything. Also, throughout your undergrad, you know, studying and being in your SLP program, really, you know, study to learn. I know it's so hard, oh my goodness, to study, I mean, to like memorize content for class and you're not really studying, it's just memorizing so you can pass a test. But at the end of the day, you know, there's information you need to know, and studying to learn is way better because you're really absorbing it. And, you know, when it comes time to take the Praxis, you know, the board exam, you don't have to, you know, do too much because you kind of already know, you have an idea of everything already. You don't have to go back and try to understand everything because, you know, like you were doing for class, you're memorizing. So I would really emphasize studying to learn and not just memorization. Okay, so now at this point you're getting involved with all your extracurriculars, you're shadowing, you're learning a lot, you're studying to learn, you're keeping up your grades. You know, now it's come to that point where you want to start looking for grad schools. I'm going to leave a link down below to ASHA. It's so helpful. I wish I would have like known this, but they have a list of all the states, and all the states they have a list of all the schools in the states that have an accredited SLP or audiology program. So nice, so helpful. So you can kind of just, you know, click on your state and see what is offered in your state, or if you want to go to another state, you can click on that state and there you go. So let's say you're interested in 3 schools, you know, gather all the information for those 3 schools, consider like location, consider tuition cost, consider, you know, what the school average GPA is, like what they accept for their students, GRE scores. Really, you know, factor all that and compare yourself to that school standards. If you have like a 3.4, for example, and the average that they accept is a 3.8, it's kind of like, you will also need to take the GRE. I took mine the summer before senior year, just so if I wanted to retake it, then I could. But I would recommend, you know, taking it earlier just in case, you know, if you have a set school in mind and you want to obtain a higher score or a certain score, you can give yourself ample time to retake the GRE if needed. You also want to contact your professors, speak to them about writing you a letter of recommendation. Interacting with your professors throughout the year will make that process a whole lot easier, a whole lot smoother. If you're interacting with them outside the classroom, whether that's asking questions or about the material in class, or just asking questions about the field in general, anything that can have communication going between the two of you, whenever you go to ask for that letter of recommendation, it's a whole lot easier. So at this point, you're about to graduate with your bachelor's, you have taken the GRE, you kind of have your schools in mind, so now it's time to actually apply for grad school. Each grad school application is different, but they are all similar in the sense that they require, official transcripts from every college or university you've attended, your GRE scores, of course, the application itself, which may include the personal statements, resumes, all that stuff. You want to keep track of all the schools, maybe make a spreadsheet for yourself with each school and kind of detail everything that you need to do for those schools so you can just check it off as you go. Yeah, application process, not much to say there. Apply, do your best on your personal statements. After you, send out your applications, I would call maybe like a week after, call the schools that you applied to make sure they received everything. I know sometimes you send transcripts from your home university to another university, and even though you physically went there and you sent it, they don't get it, and then your application is incomplete. So to prevent any of that from happening, just call them and see, and to check to see if they're missing anything or they need any additional documents from you. For me personally, I applied to 3 grad schools. I kind of already knew that the school I was going to go to was going to be like the same place where I did my undergraduate, just because I was already familiar with my classmates and faculty, and I was already comfortable, so it kind of made sense for me to stay there. Also, it was the cheapest. It was in my home state. It was like an hour and 15 minutes from my parents' house. So I was thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna live at home and commute, save some money. Grad school is already so expensive enough. It didn't make sense for me to probably have to take out a loan or something to pay for like rent and tuition and all that, when I could just spend virtually nothing and stay at home. You know what I mean? My graduate school process was amazing. Of course, with everything, new, there's some bumps and some, hiccups in the road, but overall it was great. I really, really enjoyed it. No, I didn't. That's a lie. I did enjoy overall. People say like, oh, once you graduate, you're gonna miss school. Like, no, I don't miss it. I'm so happy that I've graduated. But I did learn a lot. I learned a lot, especially during my internships and my externships. Definitely, there's so much you can learn from a textbook, right? But whenever you're, in your internship and everything's hands-on, it's just all this information is thrown at you, and you're having to, pull information that you learned from the textbooks to apply it to therapy. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, but I feel like that's when I learned so much. So now you're in grad school, everything's going great. You passed your first year of grad school and you're going into the last year. So this is probably around the time you're probably thinking about, when am I gonna take the Praxis? I know they recommend you to take the Praxis your last semester of grad school because everything's fresh. However, I think you should just take it whenever you feel comfortable. So I took mine in January. I graduated in May of last year. So I took mine like the second week of January, and I passed. And I was so happy to get that off my chest. So, returning back for the spring semester, after winter break, I could just focus on my externships. I didn't have to worry about studying. I didn't want to mix having to go to my internship and then coming home to study. Like, your internship is literally a full-time job. Like, I was 8 to 5, for my adult side. So after 5, I don't want to study. So, if you're, fine with that, then cool. But for me personally, I took it ahead of time so I could be free. So in studying for the Praxis, you're going to want to have some type of practice book to study with. This is the book I got, an advanced review of speech and language pathology. It includes a subscription, so it comes with like 3 practice exams, or was it 2? I don't remember. But yeah, I literally marked up this book. At the end of each chapter, it gives you like 10 to 15 study and review questions to see if you're, understanding the material. There's that. Very helpful. I love this book, seriously. There's 14 chapters here. So how I studied, I studied for 7 days before I took the test. I thought, I'm just gonna really grind. I went through this whole book in 7 days, which is kind of crazy. There's about 630 pages in this. So I did 2 to 4 chapters a day. I really organized my schedule so I could get the whole book done by like day 5. So day 6 and 7 was just strictly review and taking the online practice exams and just kind of relaxing. So I know a lot of people study for the whole semester and they take a while to really study everything. Like I said earlier, if you're studying to learn, you can kind of just breeze through the review book. Of course, there was a lot that I really had to take time and study because I didn't remember or I just didn't really understand it that well. I would really recommend this. I'm gonna see if I can find the updated one and link it down below as well. So now let's say you took your Praxis, you passed, you finished all your internships, you graduated, and now you're looking for a job. Apply for a job. There's so many. Literally, there's so much. That's what's so great about our field. Like, you will never be without a job because like there's so many, so many. I knew I wanted to move out of my state, so I didn't apply for like a license for my state, an SLP license, because I'm not gonna be practicing there or living there, so there was no point. So I just researched this current state, what they needed. I applied for the job here, and then I kind of went through the licensure board of the state to kind of help me out. It's not hard at all. I'll also put down below another link from ASHA that has every state's licensing and credential requirements. So easy, so useful. Literally, like, you don't even have to search, just go there and everything's there for you. A question that was asked was if it's hard to like switch from state to state. I don't think it's hard at all. I think maybe a little tedious, but I don't think it's difficult. You know, some states may have different requirements. You just have to go on and look, but you should have all the requirements. So it's just a matter of you sending in all your information to that state's like licensure board and getting your license so you can practice in that state. All right, so that concludes this video. It was more of a educational, informative video about speech and language pathology. I do plan on making more videos, more content with this field because like I said earlier, it's kind of nice to be a student in the field and kind of have someone who's already doing it to watch and ask questions. I wish whenever I was, you know, in my undergraduate or in grad school, I could watch a YouTuber, watch somebody and have information readily available for me. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Like I said, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you would like to. Also, feel free to comment down below what other videos you would like to see from me. I would love to take some suggestions. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good day and I hope this video answered some questions for you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!